Welcome to the Unraveling the Scriptures channel. India has a millennia-old history and an extremely diverse culture, tracing back to ancestral lineages to the times of Noah. In this video, I aim to present the deep roots, both genetic and historical, linguistic, and theological, of the Indian population. Therefore, after watching the video, I would appreciate if you could leave your likes and comments, as well as share it with those interested in learning more about the Indian population and its ancient origins. This is another video from our series, The Origins of Peoples According to the Bible. The indigenous population of India has its roots not only in the Asian continent but also in Africa, for millennia. The inhabitants of the region, in their genetics and history, did not originate from Asia but rather from Africa. There is evidence of this in genetic studies and DNA tests conducted on Indians, especially those from southern India, who are native to the region. The Andamanese population, which inhabited the region, remained relatively isolated, further indicating the African ancestry of India, possibly originating from the region that now comprises Ethiopia and Sudan. So, this African population was one of the first to migrate from the African continent and settle in other regions around the world. This was the first migratory wave to leave Africa, originating from the territory corresponding to Ethiopia and Sudan, and heading directly to Indian territory. Upon arriving there, especially in southern India, they settled and integrated into the region. The Andamanese, whose DNA reveals their ancient African origins, migrated to the Asian continent, reaching the South Asian territory corresponding to India. Thus, they multiplied in the region and remain there to this day, along with their descendants, the Dravidians. In India, we find the highest levels of African origin DNA, both among the Andamanese and the Dravidians. The Andamanese are the indigenous peoples inhabiting the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, an archipelago in the Indian Ocean, belonging to India. They are one of the oldest and most isolated indigenous populations in the world, with a unique cultural and linguistic history. The Dravidians, on the other hand, are a predominant ethnic group in southern India and parts of Sri Lanka, with a distinct cultural and linguistic history. They are known for their Dravidian languages, which form one of the major language families in India, including languages such as Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, and Malayalam. Immediately following this first African migration to India, came the Iranian farmers. Originating from present-day Iran, they crossed Afghanistan and Pakistan to reach Indian territory. These Iranian farmers represented the first migratory wave that deeply interacted with the local population of India in antiquity. By mixing with the pre-existing inhabitants, especially the Africans already established in the region, the Iranian farmers significantly contributed to the genetic makeup of contemporary Indians. Genetic studies indicate that this mixture resulted in about 45% Afro-Dravidian DNA and 45% ancient Iranian DNA. Thus, present-day Indians largely reflect this remarkable fusion of influences, a unique combination dating back millennia, originating from both ancient African migration and ancient Iranian migration. To this day, South Indians carry significantly high levels of Afro-Dravidian genetics. Within this group, the Telugus have about 55%, the Kannadigas have 70%, the Zerulas have 80%, and the Paniyas have 87% Afro-Dravidian ancestry. Remarkably, the Paniyas share striking similarities with the Andamanese, who are direct descendants of the Africans who initially migrated to what is now India. In addition to the African genetic influence, which has become an integral part of Indian indigenous genetics, there was significant intermingling between Afro-Dravidian Indians and Iranian immigrants who arrived in the region. This intermixing was followed by the arrival of the Indo-Aryan ancestors, who also heavily contributed to the genetic makeup of the Indian people. One of the most striking contributions of the Indo-Aryans to India was undoubtedly linguistic influence. Sanskrit is one of the many Indo-Aryan languages spoken in India, along with other variants like Hindi. Originally a spoken language, Sanskrit evolved into a highly sophisticated and refined language, primarily used in religious, literary, and philosophical texts. Its grammatical structure is highly systematic, with complex verbal conjugation, rich nominal morphology, and sophisticated syntax. One of the most distinctive features of Sanskrit is its writing system, Devanagari, which consists of a series of complex symbols representing both sounds and ideas. This script is used not only for Sanskrit but also for several other Indian languages, such as Hindi, Marathi, and Nepali. Hindi is one of the most spoken languages in the world and is the official language of India. It is an Indo-European language that evolved from Sanskrit and Prakrit, an ancient Indo-Aryan language. Modern Hindi is one of the standardized forms of Hindi, known as Standard Hindi. This linguistic diversity is a manifestation of the rich cultural and historical tapestry of the Indian subcontinent. Indo-Aryan languages are part of the Indo-Aryan branch of the larger Indo-European family, also known as the Japhetic linguistic family. This term, Japhetic, refers to Japheth, one of Noah's sons, considered the ancestor of present-day Europeans and many Iranians, descendants of Japheth's lineage. Indo-Iranians, in turn, also intermingled, albeit to a lesser extent than Aryans, with local Dravidian or Afro-Dravidian populations. This intermixing resulted in a new population, giving rise to contemporary Indians. In South India, people often exhibit appearances and genetics closer to Dravidians, who are direct descendants of Africans. On the other hand, in North India, it is more common to find a stronger mixture with Aryans and Iranians. However, it is important to note that all these populations, both in North and South India, are thoroughly mixed. Although some groups may have higher levels of ancestry from a certain population or genetics, all are deeply intermixed. A fascinating curiosity about North Indians is that they gave rise to another population that eventually became nomadic and left Indian territory for various reasons. This population migrated to the Middle East, then to the Maghreb, Europe, and even the Americas. This ethnic group is known as Roma, who are direct descendants of North Indians, mainly from the Punjab region. While there is uncertainty about the genetic origins of the Roma, they themselves shroud their origins in mystery. However, linguistic studies have shown that the Roma language, Romani, along with several other Romani dialects, share significant similarities with Hindi and other Indian languages. These linguistic evidence indicates that Roma have their roots in India. In addition to the Indo-European linguistic family, the Indo-Aryan branch, and the various Indo-Aryan languages spoken in India, there is another very prominent linguistic family, mainly in the southern part of the country, the Dravidian linguistic family. This family includes Dravidian languages. To contextualize, there are about 400 languages and linguistic dialects in India. One of the most prominent languages within the Dravidian family is undoubtedly Tamil, an ancient language spoken mainly in the southern region of India. As is customary on our channel, we are pleased to address various topics, including ethnicity, genetic history, linguistics, and culture. Additionally, we discuss the biblical origins of different populations of the world, using as a reference the genealogies of Noah described in Genesis chapter 10, as well as the Book of Chronicles. This approach allows us to trace the origins of various populations from the times of Noah to the present day. It is one of the main series here on our channel, and we have several other videos about other peoples. An example of this is the rich and fascinating history of the Indian population. As we already know, Indians have an ancient origin dating back to the Southerners, who migrated from the region now known as Africa, more specifically from Ethiopia or Sudan, in the region of the African Horn. As is widely recognized, South Indians in particular have a remote ancestry that originates in Africa, specifically the Horn of Africa region, with roots in Ethiopia or Sudan. These populations migrated to South India, transmitting a strong Cushitic genetic heritage to the Southerners, with Ham as a biblical ancestor, a descendant of Noah. In northern India, the predominant genetics are of Iranian and Indo-Aryan origin, influenced by the ancient Persians and Medes, who are descendants of Madai, son of Japheth and grandson of Noah. Thus, the northern region has a strong Japhetic genetic heritage, as Madai was one of Japheth's sons. The Japhethites migrated to northern India and intermixed with the Cushitic descendants from the southern region, resulting in a blend of origins. In the comments, we would like to know which other peoples you are interested in learning about their origins in future videos. We have received many requests and are committed to addressing all of them with proper study and research. We thank all who have watched this far. May God bless you, and see you soon.